Hi, I'm Sam. I work for AVP and we're at the Manhattan Beach Open Gold Series.
Schneider, and I've been a professional player for the last 11 years. This is the first year I've taken off, so I started coaching, and I really like it. My girls, Emily is a good friend of mine, so I've been working with her for a few years now, and Kim is her new partner, so we're having a good run. It's been a fun year. We're all learning a lot, and it's a new role, and see where it takes me.
Presented by Acer. Me and my team run the communications part for the AVP tournament, and this season has been my first season with AVP. I'm really enjoying it, fallen in love with the sport, love working on the beach. There's nothing better than that, and this is our second to last stop, so it's getting a little sad that it's coming to an end, but there's always next year. So I've worked in sports for a long time throughout my career. I love sports, but this is my first time working with beach volleyball and volleyball in general. I grew up in New Mexico, so we didn't have a lot of exposure to volleyball or beach volleyball for that matter. And through my job this season, I've been able to kind of fall in love with this sport. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I think one of my favorite things about beach volleyball is just getting to know the athlete.
Hi, I'm Sarah Roberts. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I have my doctorate of physical therapy, so how I fund my travel to play in these tournaments is working full time. And this is my partner.
Hi, I'm Kelly Wood. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I played at North Carolina State University and then transitioned to beach after I played with her. And I work full-time as a compliance manager and legal analyst.
And I went to the University of North Alabama. I was All-American middle blocker. Go Lions.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. Let's see what else we got. We met through her boyfriend. We were both looking for full-time partners, and we were kind of hopping around trying to find partners that we liked playing with, and he introduced us. And then we played in a tournament. We did really well together. We liked each other's energy, and then we were besties ever since.
Yep.
So here we are. This was our first AVP main draw. We got the wild card from the Southeast region.
Yep.
And we are loving it out here. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been out here a couple times, but I've never actually played in Manhattan Beach, so this is a whole new world, new experience, and it's awesome. We've been enjoying ourselves.
Yes. We do miss the East Coast a little bit.
Yeah. Repping the East Coast right here, even though we love the West Coast.
Yeah.
The weather is really different. So where we're from, it's really hot, but it's really humid. So I like to describe it as like playing in a crock pot. So it's just like your sunglasses in between every point. You emit so much body. Your sunglasses just fog up in between every point. And here it's really like a dry heat, so that's really different. I love the dry heat actually. It's really hard.
The sand is much deeper here.
Yeah.
Very much deeper here.
It's hard to find good deep sand courts in the East, but I'm sure it's very
I
different.
think that beach volleyball has a sense of humbleness when it comes to the athletes, and being just an average spectator, you get access to these professional athletes, these gold medalists. Right here on the beach, so it creates a really special element for this tournament and for this sport, and something that you don't get with a lot of the other professional sports.
Toronto native, but also spend a lot of time down here in the South Bay. This is my first AVP. I'm actually a dual citizen, so I play for Team Canada, but I can also compete here on the AVP as an American citizen. Yeah, I'm lucky enough to play with an amazing athlete like Nicole Brana and a coach with Marcio. I have an amazing support from my coach Evie Matthews and my partner Heather Bainsley on the other side. So it's been just a mix of people and personalities and just learning lots and just putting myself out there. So it's been really great. I feel really lucky to be here.
Well, I think one of the that is tons of challenges as a coach, and then I think one of them is the challenge. You know, is you're able to challenge your players for them to get better, and then also make sure that they embrace the challenge that you bring. It doesn't matter if you bring the challenge, but if the players are not in tune with you. So it's giving them the challenge and make them embrace that challenge to get better.
You go first. I'll go first.
So when we're playing, if my partner is serving, so Sarah, she runs up to block most of the time, and I'll give her a call. So I'll go behind my back. You'll see like either this or you do this. This means for her to block cross court, and I'll set up on the line shot. Or if I go like here, line, which means she's going to be blocking line, and I'll hopefully be digging the hard driven ball across.
So my job, even if I don't get the block, is to funnel the ball that the offense is hitting to my defender. So, and then there's some trick plays in there that you can call where you fake and block cross and then dive line. But those are the basics on the call. So 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
points
pretty
for
much
Jen and
it for
Ipley,
that.
and it is
Simple
match
as that.
point.
Yep, that's a good little blurb about
14.
the booty calls.
I'm Jamie Mitchell. I'm a photographer out of the Seattle area. I've been shooting for 41 years. I cover just about every major sport from high school to the pros, and I'm down here in California, LA, covering the volleyball tournament for AVP. I was covering the tournament a couple months ago in Seattle. Love to shoot volleyball. It's a tough sport to shoot. It enhances the skills of photography because it's tough to get the ball in the same frame as the player. So my goal when I'm shooting volleyball, which helps me in other events, is to have the ball touching the hand or just leaving the hand. Love to shoot volleyball. Okay, so I started photography 41 years ago, almost 42 years ago. My daughter is soon to be 42 in December. She was my motivation for photography. So the first 8 years of photography, I shot pictures of nothing but my daughter. And her mother and herself, they moved to another state at the age of 8. And so then I picked up, then I started shooting sports and weddings. And since then, I've been shooting the WNBA, I've been shooting NCAA gymnastics, Final Four basketball, track and field, as well as high school sports. My motivation for photography is just capturing the moment. I'm more of a creative, artistic shooter rather than a technical shooter. I like to capture the emotions and as well as the crowd that's watching the event because it's a still photo. So you have to have something that makes the photo move. For instance, in volleyball here, I like to see sand. Flying as the volleyball player jumps up into the air, or I like to see the sand coming off the volleyball as the player is spiking the ball. Movement is just really, really important to me in my photography to bring the photo to life. Okay, track and field. I'm a former runner. I went to Franklin High School in Seattle, Washington. We were the Franklin Quakers, and I ran track. I ran track through high school, but I actually started when I was about 7th grade. High school, we won city championships 3 years in a row. I was a sprinter. I ran the 100 to 200, low hurdles, long jump, and relay. And ever since then, I've been really motivated to run, and I love shooting track and field. I know all the positions to get the best angles. I'm a former starter for track and field also, and so I know every angle. I know how big of a lens I need to have so I can continuously shoot while the meet's going. My biggest moment though in photography period involves track and field. I was able to cover the Olympic trials in Eugene, Oregon last summer. 10 days of excitement. It was just unbelievable. All the athletes, no matter what the event was, they were just machines. They were just so disciplined in their training and their diets. The sprinters were fast. The middle distance runners and long distance runners, they could run for a long time. And it was just a great event for 10 days. I have never, ever experienced something as great. I've also covered the NCAA Pac-12 championship for track and field. I've covered the NCAA championship for track and field, and my upcoming plans for 2018, which I have made my reservations and credential requests already for, will be the Pac-12 championship that's going to be in Palo Alto, the NCAA championship, which is going to be in Eugene, Oregon again, and then of course I'll cover the Western Regionals, which will be all of the universities in the western part of the state to qualify for the NCAAs. I've already made my reservations for all of those locations, and I'm ready to go. Okay, credentials can be really, really tough sometimes. For track and field, it's a little bit easier because I do some shooting for the University of Washington, and fortunately, the University of Washington has a number of athletes that do well in most sports, especially track and field. So what happens is I go through the athletic department there and I get my credentials for track and field. Now, some of the other credentials that I've done for other sports, I'm fortunate to be represent a agency right out of Southern California here. It's called TG Sports, and it's owned by LT Willis, and he has access to everything. He has access to the NBA, he has access to college sports, he has access to soccer. And just recently I covered the WNBA basketball game that was held in Seattle. That was 3 days of fun. But credentials, in most cases, they're tough to get. It's a lot of networking, a lot of patience, and knowing at the last minute whether you've been approved or not.
Hi, I'm Eleanor Kent. I'm with the Side Out Foundation out of Fairfax, Virginia. We're here enjoying the AVP Tour, watching some of the best volleyball in the world. We're actually out here to give kudos to many of the high school students that participate in the local area in one of our initiatives, which is called Dig Pink. What Dig Pink is a pink out night for your volleyball team, but you're raising funds for the Side Out Foundation. Now, what does the Side Out Foundation do exactly? We raise money for our own stage 4 breast cancer clinical trials, meaning we own, manage, and fund all of the research. And what's really, really cool about it is that it's all being funded by the sport of volleyball. So the impact we're having with stage 4 breast cancer can be attributed back to these girls participating in Dig Pink events across the nation. Specifically, we're at the AVP to give kudos to those players. We have 2 local high schools in the area, Torrance High School and Miracosta High School, that will actually get the amazing opportunity to meet and greet with April Ross. They'll get to meet her later this afternoon after her last match and get to talk with April about the amazing things the volleyball community is doing for stage 4 breast cancer, as well as just hang out and get to chat with one of our favorite Olympians. So the Side Out Foundation, like I said, Dig Pink events happen nationwide. As a whole, the Side Out Foundation, through Dig Pink initiatives and the high school and college students that participate in them, as well as middle school, the foundation has raised over $14 million to fund this stage 4 breast cancer research. In the state of California alone, the Side Out Foundation and the high schools and middle schools and colleges that participate in our Dig Pink initiative have raised over $802,000 to date. They've had over 500 Dig Pink events in the state of California, and California is one of our largest fundraising states for the Side Out Foundation. So we are happy to be out here and give love to the people that give love to us. We're very appreciative of this opportunity with the AVP. We can't thank them enough for letting us come out and be a part of this great event and see April and reward our girls with this opportunity. Our research that we fund, like I said, we own, manage, and operate our own clinical trials. And what's really neat about our trials is they use personalized medicine. So our drugs are actually tested on each individual's cancer cells, and whichever drug works the best is what's given to that patient. What's really, really neat about it is we test all FDA-approved cancer drugs on your specific cancer cells. We don't just test what's FDA approved for breast cancer, we test what's FDA approved for all cancers. So if a colon cancer drug works for your cancer cells, that's what we're gonna give you. And what's been really cool, we're in our third phase of our research, is that we have prolonged the lives of the patients that have been in our study. And the way we've done this is by giving them that personalized medicine, testing those drugs individually on their cancer cells, and giving them what works for them. When this happens, they're able to stay on that drug for longer. With breast cancer and with breast cancer drugs, when you get to stage 4, there's not a lot of options. What the Side Out Foundation and the volleyball community are trying to do is provide these patients with options. Give them a voice, give them a place that they can feel they can go when they don't have anywhere else to turn. And like I said, we really want to attribute that to all of the volleyball communities and nationwide Dig Pink events that we have hosted over the past 10 years. We're just really thankful to be here, and we can't wait to meet April later. All right, as I mentioned earlier, we're here to meet April Ross and give her the opportunity to talk with high school girls that participate in our Dig Pink initiatives. The reason this is important is because April has a connection to the cause. April actually lost her mother while she was in college to stage 4 breast cancer. So this is a cause that is near and dear to April's heart, and we are so appreciative of her being willing to do these meet and greets with players and kind of spokesperson for the Side Out Foundation. It's a new relationship, but we are loving it so far, and we are so thankful to get the opportunity to be with April. Find all the information about our Dig Pink initiative as well as our research on side-out.org. That is our website. Please like and follow us on social media. On Instagram, we are at DigPink1000. On Twitter, we are at DigPink. And on Facebook, we are the Side Out Foundation. So please give us a like, give us a follow. We'd love to give you some love if you participate in any of our events. And if you don't participate, we'd love to get you on board hosting a Dig Pink event this fall or even next year.
So I joined the Side Out Foundation because I worked at DePaul for 2 years, and their volleyball team did their Dig Pink initiative. And through that, I was able to see how great of a foundation the Side Out Foundation is and what they stand for and what we raise money for. So I reached out to Rick Dunitz, our executive director, and came on as a communications director for the foundation. And I couldn't be happier to help with this great initiative and try to make an impact on stage 4 breast cancer.
And out to a 2-point lead, 10.
So it's a long story, but I mean, it goes all the way back to South Africa. I was over there, and I'm playing in a band, came over here to the States and traveled around with my friends, and then she picked me up hitchhiking on Dexter Avenue, and I was playing volleyball at the time. What?
We were playing beach volleyball at the time.
At the time,
so
yeah. And so we had to come on. So, you know, after she dropped me off where I was going, I think I was going to some interview. We made a drive around for about an hour, but, you know, we exchanged numbers because we both played volleyball, so yeah. Now we've been living down in Alki for about, 20 years now, running the AVA, which is the Alki Volleyball Association. It's the largest series of events down there on Alki, and it's been for the last 11 or 10 years we've been running that. So we just live right on the beach. It's the only real beach in Seattle. There's a couple other ones, Golden Gardens, but yeah, that's the main one. Anyway.
And so, yeah, we're here actually we're kind of highlighting a lot of the players that are local that have like gone through our program in Seattle, the AVA, and then have come down here to play the AVP.
So we're also interviewing people at the moment. Yeah, Brett and Brian are playing right now, and they're our top team over here. We've got Julie and Danny that played on center court. And Summer Nash, we just bumped into, who do we just, Nicole Baton from Portland. You know, she's playing the qualifier. There's another one.
bunch of our juniors came through the program in AVA, and now they played the AVP first in Seattle at one point this year earlier. So, Ailey Kent, and so I mean, we're just trying to grow the sport in the Northwest. We're doing that for 20 years, so up there, been running the AVA for 11, so that's it. I mean, how do you grow volleyball in the area, right? I mean, I think it takes a lot of effort. You've got to create a bigger event than the players really expect in that area and make it really fun for them. Good reflection. We try to get sponsors involved way back in the 2000s, 2006, 2007, somewhere around there, and then we ran it, and we just upped the prize money. We just started running a new event called Seabrook on the coast. It's the second annual event. It's got a prize money for $10,000 total. So that's for the open players, but you also have to create a level of introduction for the lower players, the AA players and the A players. So we try and run that on the same day as our open players, so they can start to get to know each other. We run into some problems with the courts. We only have 7 courts in Seattle, so it's very limited to what we can do in the amount of teams. So we're trying to figure out ways to get them to interact. That's sort of the key. You just got to create a really good experience for every player, and it's tricky because we're dealing with juniors, novice, A-level, AA, and open players. So we span the whole gamut with AVA stuff. So to keep our focus on that and doing it as a part-time job is kind of tricky. Susan's an architect. I do interface design for apps and stuff like that. So it's our real job. But we do this because we love volleyball. So
I think one of the key things with the AVA also is that we provide players with more than what they usually get in the tournament. We give them free food. There's all sorts of free coconut water and things like that. Plus the prize money is a lot higher than a lot of the other tournaments in the Northwest for open. Everyone's pretty happy about what they're getting for their money.
But you're only as good as your last event. Yeah, we always try to improve every single event. Like you say, the prize money is better and the sponsors. We try and make a real festive atmosphere. I mean, obviously Manhattan Beach is the granddaddy of all beach volleyball tournaments and the biggest festival ever. But we try our best. We're not doing this full time. It's a part-time thing up there, but we do run the biggest event series up there, and we try and make it better for all.
Yeah, what we're trying to create, I think, is community, a really good volleyball community, and I think we feel like we've done that because we are friends with all of our, the people that play. And we're players ourselves, and so it's something that we can kind of grow with.
That's important. I mean, the community, you always have things that go right and wrong in the community, but I mean, building the community and the friendship, the bonds that grow in that is what really grows volleyball. I mean, those players are playing because they come and hang out with their friends on the beach and they're having a good time. And they feel like they're playing an event that's larger than, just like somebody throwing some money in their hat and pulling up a net. They're having a good time, they're getting a bunch of free stuff and good prizes. So that's what we're trying to do out there.
Hi, I'm Brandon Clemens.
I'm Jace Pardon.
And we're here at the Manhattan Beach Open today. It's a pretty sweet venue.
Yeah. From Manhattan Beach, she's from Indiana.
Yeah.
Been playing on the Pro Tour for like a year.
Yeah. Woo, rookie season. Yeah. We met traveling together 4 years ago for USA. Got to travel to Croatia and kind of just had the beach volleyball bug ever since.
Been friends ever since.
Yeah.
It's
been
awesome.
sweet, yeah. This is my first Manhattan Beach Open, and I just loved it. I made it to my second Saturday ever and got to play in the stadium court, which was super cool. And I know this is Jason's second or third Manhattan Beach Open.
Yeah, she's the big deal.
My fourth.
Yeah. Been there, done that. But yeah, it's cool. I just kind of made the transition to full-time beach last year when I moved out to San Diego. And so I'd always like done indoor during indoor season, and then only played beach during the summers really. But this has been my first year playing just beach, and so it's my rookie season on the AVP, and I'm loving it so much. Like, California's great. I live in San Diego now, and it's super cool. Jason's been playing beach though forever, and like just won a NORCECA recently, so she's the real deal. Okay, so yeah, I played indoor growing up. Started in like my freshman year of high school or so, and then played club, played in college, and it's so much different than beach because you have 6 people on the court versus 2 people on the court. So you have to specialize a lot more. So there are middle blockers and setters, and so you have people who are designated to do specific tasks, whereas beach volleyball is just so much more rewarding because you get to do it all and you get to be involved in every play, every aspect of the game. And it helps because you get to take a lot more personal responsibility, but it's so much more rewarding. It's so much more fun because you're on a beach. And I just think the community's great, and it's the best sport ever.
I mean, anytime I'm competing, I'm trying to win at any point possible. It's very cutthroat. It's like do or die. They're not your friends on the court, and maybe even off the court probably. But yeah, they're going for everything. We really want to win. This is like more than just a game. I mean, playing here is like especially special for me because I'm from here and I grew up here. So it means more than like anything. Just going for everything, and then I'm sure for you too.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy just because one point can really change the outcome of a game, Sometimes a big rally can lead to such a big momentum shift that if you miss a point that you should have got, it can really change the whole outcome of the match. And so really every point and every opportunity you get, you have to take advantage of.
So like I said earlier, I'm a physical therapist, so I work full-time at Benchmark Physical Therapy. Woo, go Benchmark. And so a little bit about volleyball injuries. They're very common, and the AVP is very, the athletes are very lucky to have the AVP promoting and providing medical assistance. So we have a medical tent over there in the corner, and it's free for the athletes, and the staff is awesome. There's some excellent people that have been, practicing for 30, 40 years and have all kinds of certifications. And it's very crucial to the athletes because in between games and before games and after games, we can go in there and get work done, and so that we can really play at our best and compete at our best to give the crowd this entertainment. Because if you haven't ever played beach volleyball, it is so demanding. Not only the heat, but just it takes so much muscular balance in your legs and feet. It is crazy. And without the medical tent, it would probably be a whole different ball game out here.
A lot more injuries.
Yeah, there would be a lot more injuries. The game would be slower because we wouldn't be able to get that big explosive jump. With our shoulders going all these cut shots, can throw your shoulder out really easily. So we are very fortunate to have a good medical staff with the AVP.